Pennsylvania holds secrets the history books only whisper about. Hidden deep in forests, buried in small towns, and crumbling behind locked gates are places where time has stopped, but the stories never died. Abandoned prisons, cursed roads, haunted battlefields, and even entire towns swallowed by nature. They're all out there, waiting to be uncovered. In this video, we're counting down 10 of the most mysterious and chilling places in Pennsylvania. Each one holds a past that refuses to stay buried, and when we reach number 1, you'll see why some places were never meant to be forgotten. Number 10, St. Anthony's Wilderness. Deep in the Blue Mountains of Pennsylvania lies one of the largest uninhabited wilderness areas in the state, St. Anthony's Wilderness. On the surface, it looks like nothing more than endless forest and rugged trails. But hidden beneath the trees are the forgotten remains of an entire chapter of history. Back in the 1700s, Moravian missionaries tried to settle here, carving out homes and villages in the dense wilderness. Later, during the 19th century, logging and mining companies moved in, filling the valleys with sawmills, furnaces, and tiny towns. For a time, the land echoed with the sound of hammers, wagons, and children playing in schoolyards. But as the timber was cleared and the mines dried up, life slowly drained away. Families packed up, businesses shut down, and the wilderness crept back in. Today, all that's left are crumbling stone foundations, rusted tools hidden in the dirt, and the faint outlines of railroads swallowed by moss. Hikers who pass through say the silence is overwhelming, as if the land itself remembers everything that was taken from it. Some even claim to feel watched, as though the ghosts of those who once struggled to survive here never truly left. St. Anthony's Wilderness isn't just a forest, it's a graveyard of forgotten dreams, a place where nature reclaimed what humanity thought it had conquered. Number 9, Sideling Hill. Towering along the border of Fulton and Huntingdon counties, Sideling Hill is one of the most striking and unsettling landscapes in Pennsylvania. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary mountain, but one enormous scar cuts straight through its heart, a man-made wound carved by dynamite and machines. When engineers blasted through Sideling Hill to make way for the highway, they exposed a wall of rock that tells a story stretching back 350 million years. Layer upon layer of ancient stone lies bare, like the pages of a book written by the earth itself. To geologists, it's a treasure trove. To travelers, it feels like a gateway to another world. But the beauty of Sideling Hill comes with an edge of unease. For decades, the road that wound across its slopes was known as one of the most dangerous in the state, steep, winding, and unforgiving. Many accidents occurred here, and with each one, the mountain seemed to gain a darker reputation. Today, the highway cut stands as a colossal monument to both progress and destruction. Stand at its base, and the rock walls rise around you like a canyon, shadows stretching long as the sun fades. Some visitors say it feels less like a road cut and more like standing inside the earth's open wound, an ancient reminder that what humans carve open, time will never fully heal. Sideling Hill is more than a landmark. It's a scar across Pennsylvania's land, and maybe even its memory. Number 8. The Devil's Road, Cosart Road. Tucked away near Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, there's a stretch of pavement so unsettling it's earned the name the Devil's Road. On the map, it's just Cosart Road. But to locals, it's a place of whispers, shadows, and stories you won't find in any travel guide. As you drive down this narrow, twisting lane, the first thing you notice is the trees. They don't grow straight. Many of them bend and lean unnaturally, their gnarled branches curling away from the road as if recoiling from something unseen. Some say it's the soil. Others insist it's a curse. Then there are the legends. The most famous is tied to the powerful DuPont family, who allegedly used the woods for secret, sinister rituals. Tales of cult meetings, sacrifices, and even inbred children raised in the forest have clung to the road for decades. No evidence has ever been proven, but the stories refuse to die. People who've dared to drive the Devil's Road at night report chilling encounters, headlights that vanish in the distance, sudden drops in temperature, and figures moving just beyond the reach of their beams. Some claim cars break down without reason, while others say they've been chased by unseen forces until they fled the woods. Whether you believe the stories or not, one thing is certain. The Devil's Road doesn't feel like an ordinary country lane. It feels like a place where the line between myth and reality has been blurred, and where the shadows are always watching. Number 7. Pennhurst Asylum. In the quiet town of Spring City stands a place that once held thousands of people, yet today it's remembered as one of Pennsylvania's darkest scars. Pennhurst Asylum. Officially called the Pennsylvania State School for the mentally and physically handicapped, it opened in 1908 with the promise of care and reform. Instead, it became a symbol of neglect and cruelty. For decades, children and adults with disabilities were confined here, crammed into overcrowded wards. With too few staff and almost no oversight, patients were left to wander the halls in rags, some tied to beds or locked in cells. Investigations in the 1960s exposed horrific conditions, patients beaten, starved, and abandoned, their cries echoing through the decaying walls. When Pennhurst finally shut its doors in 1987, it was as if the world walked away overnight. Rusted wheelchairs sit in empty corridors, beds line peeling rooms, and files of forgotten lives remain scattered across the floor. The silence feels heavy, as though the suffering never truly left. Today, Pennhurst is said to be one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors report footsteps in the dark, whispers slipping through locked doors, and shadows darting across the halls. Paranormal investigators claim the energy here is overwhelming, a mix of sorrow, rage, and souls unwilling to be forgotten. Pennhurst Asylum isn't just a ruin. It's a reminder of how quickly compassion can turn to cruelty, and how some walls will always remember the pain they once held. Number 6. Hex Hollow or Rehmeyer's Hollow. Deep in southern York County lies a stretch of woodland that locals still whisper about, Hex Hollow, also known as Rehmeyer's Hollow. At first glance, it's just an ordinary patch of forest, but the story tied to it is anything but ordinary. In the 1920s, this hollow became the center of one of the strangest and most chilling true crime cases in Pennsylvania's history. Nelson Rehmeyer, a local farmer and practitioner of Pennsylvania Dutch folk healing, or powwow, lived here. Some believed he had supernatural powers, able to heal illness or lift curses. But when neighbors accused him of placing a hex, fear turned into paranoia. In 1928, 3 men broke into his farmhouse, convinced that destroying his spellbook and killing him would break the curse. What followed was a brutal murder that shocked the quiet countryside. The crime made national headlines and forever branded the area with the name Hex Hollow. Rehmeyer's farmhouse still stands today, weathered and quiet, surrounded by the same woods that fueled superstition nearly a century ago. Many say strange things linger there, unexplained cold spots, whispers in the trees, and an uneasy presence that never fades. To this day, Hex Hollow isn't just a place on the map. It's a reminder of how folklore, fear, and belief in the supernatural can drive ordinary people to do the unthinkable. The forest keeps its secrets, and visitors often leave with the sense that they weren't walking alone. Number 5. The 7 Gates of Hell, or York County. Hidden deep in the woods of York County is one of Pennsylvania's most chilling urban legends, the 7 Gates of Hell. At first glance, it's just a quiet stretch of forest off Toad Road, but locals will tell you it's anything but ordinary. The legend claims that somewhere in these woods lie a series of 7 gates, and if you pass through all of them, you don't come back. The story begins with a supposed insane asylum that once stood in the area. When it burned down, patients escaped into the woods. Many were captured, but some were never found. To keep them from wandering back into town, 7 gates were supposedly built. One by one, travelers who tried to explore vanished, or so the legend says. In reality, only one stone archway gate exists, weathered and covered in moss. But the legend has grown far beyond the truth. Locals whisper about screams in the night, shadowy figures darting between trees, and a crushing sense of dread as you walk deeper in. Paranormal investigators have even claimed strange electronic readings and unexplained sounds in the woods. The scariest part? According to the tale, passing through the seventh gate doesn't lead you deeper into the forest. It opens straight into hell itself. Whether you believe the story or not, the Seven Gates of Hell has become one of Pennsylvania's darkest mysteries, a place where folklore and fear collide. Number 4. Gettysburg Battlefield. Few places in America feel as heavy with history as Gettysburg Battlefield. On these rolling hills in July 1863, the fate of a nation was decided. Over the course of just 3 days, more than 50,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or went missing, making it the bloodiest battle of the Civil War. The clash between Union and Confederate forces not only turned the tide of the war, but also left scars that can still be felt today. Walking across Gettysburg, you don't just see open fields, you see Devil's Den, where sharpshooters hid among boulders. You see Little Round Top, where desperate soldiers held the line. You see Cemetery Hill, where President Abraham Lincoln later delivered the Gettysburg Address, reminding the nation what the fight was truly for. But Gettysburg is more than just a battlefield. Visitors often describe strange sensations, whispers in the wind, the sound of marching boots, or sudden chills in the summer heat. Some even claim to see phantom soldiers moving through the fog at dawn. Paranormal or not, the energy here is undeniable. Today, the Gettysburg National Military Park spans thousands of acres, preserving monuments, cannons, and the very ground where history was written in blood. Driving its quiet roads or standing in the fields at sunset feels less like a visit and more like stepping back in time. Gettysburg isn't just history you read in a book. It's history you stand in, breathe in, and carry with you long after you've left. Number 3, Laurel Hill Cemetery, or Philadelphia. Perched high above the Schuylkill River in Philadelphia, Laurel Hill Cemetery is more than just a burial ground. It's a sprawling outdoor museum of art, history, and haunting beauty. Founded in 1836, it was one of the very first rural garden cemeteries in the United States, designed not just for mourning, but for reflection, peace, and awe. Spread across 74 acres, Laurel Hill feels like a city of the dead. Marble angels stand guard over elaborate tombs, Gothic mausoleums rise like cathedrals, and weathered headstones stretch as far as the eye can see. Many of America's most notable figures rest here, including Civil War generals, industrial tycoons, and even Titanic victims. Walking among the graves, you're tracing the story of a nation. But Laurel Hill is more than a history lesson. By day, it's strangely serene. Quiet pathways, bird calls, and river views. By night, however, the atmosphere shifts. Shadows stretch long, the statues seem to watch, and visitors swear the air grows colder as the sun dips below the horizon. Some even claim to have seen ghostly figures among the mausoleums, or heard footsteps that vanish into silence. Unlike many cemeteries, Laurel Hill welcomes the living. Guided tours, lantern walks, and even outdoor movie nights bring people back among the dead. It's a place where beauty, history, and the supernatural all intertwine. Laurel Hill isn't just a cemetery. It's a reminder that stories don't end at the grave. Number 2, Eastern State Penitentiary. Standing like a fortress in the heart of Philadelphia, Eastern State Penitentiary is one of the most haunting places in America. When it opened in 1829, it wasn't just a prison. It was an experiment. The idea was radical. Criminals could be reformed through complete silence and isolation. Prisoners lived alone in stone cells with tiny skylights, eating, sleeping, and working in solitude. They weren't even allowed to speak, and guards moved silently in felt-covered shoes. At first, it was praised as a model of justice, but the silence didn't bring peace. It broke minds. Inmates suffered hallucinations, paranoia, and in many cases, madness. The prison that was supposed to heal instead became infamous for its cruelty. Its design with long radiating cell blocks like the spokes of a wheel was copied around the world. Some of the most notorious criminals in U.S. history passed through its gates, including Al Capone, whose surprisingly lavish cell, complete with fine furniture and a radio, still stands today. Abandoned in 1971, Eastern State fell into ruin. Crumbling walls, collapsing cell blocks, and rusting bars turned it into a skeletal monument to suffering. But it wasn't forgotten. Today it's open for tours, where visitors can walk the same corridors that once echoed with silence and fear. And then there are the stories, the shadows moving in empty hallways, the sounds of footsteps when no one is there, and whispers that follow you through the darkness. It's no wonder Eastern State is often called one of the most haunted places in America. Step inside, and you don't just see history, you feel it, pressing against you in the silence. Number 1. Concrete City, Luzerne County. Hidden deep in the woods of northeastern Pennsylvania lies Concrete City, a place that feels more like a forgotten dream than a real town. Built in 1911 by the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western Railroad, it was one of the first experiments in modern housing. 20 identical concrete homes designed for coal miners and their families. Solid, gray, and uniform, they were meant to last forever. And they did, just not in the way anyone expected. By 1924, the experiment had failed. The homes were uncomfortable, hard to heat, and impossible to alter. When the coal company abandoned the project, residents were forced to leave. The company tried to demolish the buildings, but the concrete was so strong that even dynamite barely left a mark. In the end, they simply walked away, leaving the ghostly neighborhood to be swallowed by the forest. Today, Concrete City stands in eerie silence. The houses still line the overgrown paths, their walls scarred with graffiti, windows gaping like empty eyes. Trees twist through cracked floors, and vines creep over the walls, as if nature is slowly reclaiming what industry left behind. For urban explorers, it's a dream and a nightmare. The uniform houses create a sense of unsettling déjà vu, like walking through a maze where every turn looks the same. Some say the silence feels heavier here, as if the walls themselves remember. Concrete City wasn't built to be beautiful. It wasn't built to be welcoming. But more than a century later, it still stands, refusing to vanish, a permanent ghost town of concrete and shadows.